Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So I have the Bitcoin chart open, and I'd like to talk about in this video what I believe Bitcoin is doing and what I believe we should be prepared for in the coming days on the Bitcoin chart. So this is a zoomed out picture. This is on a day candle view of Bitcoin, and as you can see, it has been recovering from the decline that it has been in. Now, if you go back to 2013, the 2013 decline, let's go back and take a look at that. Okay, so here we are back in the 2013 decline, and if you take this structure here, that is this entire structure here, and copy and paste it onto today's chart, you'll see that it is actually a fairly good guide for what has been taking place on today's chart. Now, there's a caveat. So if you just copy and paste this as is, it's not going to match very well. So what I've done is I've adjusted it to today's timing, height, and depth. Okay, so here is that fractal from 2013, the one we were just looking at. So this is that fractal superimposed onto today's chart. Now, I adjusted the timing, the height, and the depth. So, for instance, right here, this one was matched, this part right here, to today's move up and move down. So originally, that move up and move down looked like this. The timing was much quicker than it was over here. So I adjusted it to match today's current timing, height, and depth. And the same is true of all these different parts. But as you can see, which is my main point here, is that once adjusted, you see that Bitcoin is actually doing something very familiar to what it has already done in the past. So as we can see here, it moved up, moved down. Now, I was of the belief that it was going to go down further, but it did not. So this also shows the limits of this type of technical analysis. While you can look to the past to get an understanding of what is taking place on today's chart, you have to leave room for that chart to today's chart to be original. So while it repeated this bounce, which is actually always takes place on this type of decline, this time it did not go as deep as it did in previous years. So now we're here. So what is going on right here? This right here has some similarities. It moved back up, but now it's going kind of flat versus in the past it moved up, moved back down, and, well, moved up again. In this video, we're going to examine this structure right here a little more, and so we can get an understanding of what could potentially be at play on today's chart. So to do that, let's go back into the past and examine that 2013 decline and the recovery that took place. Okay, so here is that 2013 decline. Here is that bounce. Here is that move up where we currently are at right here. So this is that part. Now, this is what I want to draw your attention to, this area right here. So this is an area where price kind of moves sideways right there before continuing its move up. Now, has this done this in other places after a decline? And the answer to that is actually yes. Let's go further back in time and examine other declining structures where in the recovery it does something similar to this. So we don't have to go back too far because right here is a smaller version of a decline and a recovery. So here we have the decline. It comes to a point. It starts its recovery. And in that recovery, it has the same basic idea playing out here, where you have this point where it goes flat and even it drops quite a bit. So that is a potential possibility that we could see on today's chart. So it takes place after the low point in the correction. In the recovery, it has this consolidation where it goes flat before moving further up. Let's go further back in time and see if we can find other examples of this. Here is the next decline and recovery. This takes place in 2011. So here's the decline, here's the low point, here is that bounce that takes place on this type of decline. I've gone into this in previous videos. You're welcome to go back and review my other Bitcoin videos. So here is that recovery and that consolidation. Once again, it takes place here. Now you can count this as just this right here, or maybe you can even stretch it all the way to here. So it starts its recovery, it kind of goes sideways, consolidates before its move further up into the Bitcoin bull run. Okay, so here is the decline that takes place right before the current decline and bull run that has taken place on the chart, the one where we match the 2013 Bitcoin decline to today's chart. So over here, we see that Bitcoin comes to a peak, it declines. Let's zoom in a little and get a better picture of this. So it comes to a low point right here. And then after, in its recovery, it experiences a consolidation right here. Now this one is quite large and quite extreme compared to the other ones that we just examined. But it is essentially the same idea at play. From its lows, it goes into its recovery, but then it does this consolidation before moving further up into the Bitcoin bull run. So now that we have ample evidence of this type of structure playing out on the Bitcoin chart, let's jump back to where we are today and examine what is currently taking place. Okay, so here we are at today's chart with the 2013 decline superimposed on today's chart. And as you can see, we have moved up from a low point. We are now in the recovery, and we are potentially at that phase that we have been examining where price moves up from that low point and goes into a consolidation before continuing on with the bull run. Now, there's two ways it's played out. It's either kind of gone sideways and flat to a point before moving up, or it goes sideways and then moves down to a lower point before moving up into the bull run. What will play out here is yet to be seen, but those are the two potential possibilities that we should expect. We should expect it to go sideways and move up, or expect to go sideways and or down. It shouldn't go below this low, but there is that possibility, that potential for it to move down before moving up into the next phase of the Bitcoin bull run. Well, folks, I hope this video has shed some light on what is currently taking place on today's Bitcoin chart. We went through history, examined the past to have a better understanding of what is taking place on today's chart. If you found this video helpful, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. You know, there's not a lot of people that do this type of technical analysis where I deep dive into chart structure and examine the past to pick out what is potentially taking place on today's chart. So if you find this type of technical analysis interesting, I recommend that you subscribe, because I will be continuing to follow the Bitcoin chart as it plays out, as well as other cryptocurrencies. And that way you can stay up to date on my technical analysis. Tell me what you guys think of what I proposed here. If you have other observations, please put them down in the comments. Also, I'm debating on how frequently I should put out videos on crypto charts and just technical analysis. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, also please let me know in the comments. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so none of this should be used as financial or investment advice. I am so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.